GM guys, what's up? And welcome to another episode of Crypto Twins Q&A here with me and Jess. Jess, how you doing?
What an intro.
Yeah.
What a happy...
I'm channeling my inner BitConnect because I'm wearing an outfit that's akin to it, you know.
I love the vibes. It's also really off-putting to talk to you because these glasses, they just tell a story. They tell the story of the markets this week.
Yeah.
We've got the color-coordinated outfits as well.
Yours is more on the green, so it's more on your side. But when this video eventually gets out, we've got for both contingencies either red or green markets.
Yeah,
so.
We were going to do an arm wrestle, and then that was going to indicate whoever won what color the markets would move next. But
yeah,
I mean, we weren't going to embarrass each other like that.
Well, we got a really exciting Q&A for you guys today. Firstly, I need to state categorically that no, I am not Red Riding Hood, and no, this is not a Crypto Saturday Night Fever remix. I am in fact promoting a meme coin called Nick with Hat, so it's coming to a sex near you. No, actually, if you watched Q&A last week, you will have seen that guy took a shot at my red velvet pants, and seems like everyone in the comments seemed to like them a lot. And I said, look, if you guys really want to see it, I'll be wearing the full outfit for a Q&A. So, you know, I aim to please, a man of my word, and here I am.
You have not disappointed. We love the commitment to the cause. We did see a photo of it on the Coin Bureau Discord, but now we get the full video, guys.
It really feels a lot better than it actually looks. So if it looks cool, it feels even better. It's just super relaxing, you know. So yeah, we got Q&A, very exciting episode of Q&A, and we've additionally got another surprise at the end of the Q&A, because we have decided that we want to try and find the next crypto bull market theme song.
Yes.
And we've gone the extra mile here because Jess has actually gone to the lengths of getting a Coin Bureau version of a crypto bull market song developed. And we're going to be hearing it for the first time, so you'll get the full authentic reaction from me.
I am so excited for this. So yesterday I was speaking with a music producer. We have this little track made up. The guys haven't heard it yet. I've probably played it about 10 times yesterday, but this is the first time you'll be hearing it too. So you guys will get to hear it together.
She's been talking it up a lot, so you know the expectations are super high. So cool. So we're ready to dive in. I need to remove these glasses and this hat because firstly I can't see through these glasses, and this hood is just too hot. So okay, now ready for the first question, and this is from Antonispirisonis.eth. Okay. And he's asking, any major correction before or after the halving, or are we already on a super cycle?
Oh, this is a good question.
Yeah.
So we're taking a look at what we've seen. So this week alone, we have seen record trading volumes when it comes to the spot Bitcoin ETFs. We've seen a huge amount of traffic there. I think even the likes of James Seyfarth and Eric Balchunas have said they were not expecting the flows that we have seen coming into the spot Bitcoin ETFs. That does change things a little bit. That does change the environment that we are seeing. We've got one analyst at Bitfinex, and I thought this was funny, so I put this in. Our analyst forecasts a conservative price objective for 100,000 to 120,000 by Q4 of 2024. So there's kind of a lot of optimism in the markets right now when it comes to what we are seeing. I think the biggest risk short term when it comes to a correction will be profit taking, people taking some profit off the table. But that being said, I do think this cycle could be different just based on the fact that we are seeing the ETF inflows as a different catalyst for the Bitcoin price movement.
So like a super cycle, not really left translated, you know, in the sense that it's going to extend out into 2025, you think?
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if we did see a correction of some sorts over the next few months around the time of the halving. I think in the build up to the halving, we're going to see a lot of media attention. So we've already got the catalyst of the positive price movements. If we look at what we traditionally see in the mainstream media, price is a big narrative. And then also the halving is something that is quite easy for kind of the TradFi journalists to understand and talk about. After that, maybe we will see a slight little sell the news drop off with price, but I think this cycle is different. What's your take?
Yeah, totally. I think so. I mean, firstly, so the question back to the left translated cycle is, will we see an all-time high before the halving? Right now, usually, if you look at previous halvings, and K33 released a report on this recently. The 50 days before the halving, on average, we've seen at least a 30% increase in price, right?
Okay.
So that basically means if we're now at, 63K, we'll be looking at 81K by the halving, right? Mm-hmm. So that's already past the previous all-time high. That's already invalidated previous halving cycles and the 4-year cycle theory. So whether we'll face a correction, I guess the question is how big of a correction. There will always be profit taken to a certain degree. There could be some profit taken from these levels as well. Remember that a lot of what's driven the recent pump could also have been a lot of pressure built up in the futures market with high leverage shorts. And there was a lot of short liquidations going on as well.
Yeah.
So we could see a little bit of a retracement in price, but it's not the massive correction that many people would expect to, as emblematic of most cycles back into the all-time high. Then after the halving, there's the question of, okay, there's generally a little bit of profit taken on the halving as well because it is a bit of a sell the news event.
Yeah.
But most previous cycles, you see that the halving leads to a change in supply and demand dynamics, and there's a rally out of that. But right now, I think that all of that potentially doesn't really matter at the end of the day because the markets have changed completely. These ETFs have provided an opportunity to supercharge adoption through both institutional and retail. And I think we still haven't even seen a large amount of the retail coming in for the ETF shares, right? Because large brokerage platforms are still only slowly allowing these shares to be traded on their platforms.
Yeah.
And that's the retail ETF buyers that could potentially start coming in. And of course, talk about the halving itself is going to drive interest in media, as you mentioned, like media interest in the Bitcoin halving, which is then going to talk about Bitcoin, which is then going to drive the price, which is then going to drive and bring normies back into the market. And people who haven't even bought Bitcoin ever are going to consider adding it to their portfolios because it's now in a tax-regulated wrapper that they can buy through their brokerage accounts and IRA and a tax-efficient way.
Yeah.
I think that but I'm erring to on the more side of the supercycle. I think we'll head into 2025. We'll hit a new all-time high, potentially even before the halving, potentially.
We're not far off now. At the time of recording, we're kind of in the
63. It came was on this week. Its high was like 64.
Yeah, 64 on some exchanges this week, which is we're so close.
We at a whisker. We're at a whisker, man.
Yeah.
I think that it's not very far from it. We could potentially see it happening prior to the halving, and then obviously the halving comes along, and then there's also macro factors, potentially pivot by the Fed, more liquidity in the markets, and then we drive into end of 2024 in a new all-time high, 2025, 100, 120K. Easy. Where it's going to top out, who knows, man? If it's a real super cycle, who knows? Yeah.
And one thing as well, they're saying time in the markets beats timing the market. So I think at this point, if you are keeping the eye out for a correction, if you try and exit and, then re-enter at a higher price point, it is just a risky business. I think no one really knows what's going to happen next because this is a different paradigm to previous market cycles. Just don't leave any Bitcoin on the table, guys. Okay, Balin Black says, when will quantum hit us? Which cryptos are safe for this?
Yeah, that's a very interesting question. And I think it's quite relevant right now because if you guys recall back to 2019, Google reached what they called quantum supremacy, which is when a quantum computer can perform functions and calculations more efficiently than a classical computer. So they beat IBM's supercomputer. It was a 53-qubit machine. And just to give you a sense of how quickly it can calculate things, it managed to find a solution to a math problem in 200 seconds that the best, most advanced supercomputer would take 10,000 years.
You know what? I have 2 quantum computing fun facts for you, and that was one of them.
Was that one of them? Okay, what's the other one? Tell me the other one.
Okay, quantum computing requires extremely cold temperatures. So the subatomic particles must be kept as close as possible to a stationary state. Core D-Wave quantum computers operate at minus 273 degrees Celsius.
Jesus. Now you know why they're so unstable, right? Why it's very hard to build these things and why they're so expensive and why only such big companies. But speaking of companies, Atom Computing, so this is what recently, they were a startup actually. They raised a lot of funding. They developed a machine. Now get this, Google's machine was a 53 qubit. Right? Okay. This is a 1,000+ qubit machine. Crazy. Now obviously, it's just in theory now, but to give you an idea, the possible first let's talk about the questions why is it a risk potentially to cryptocurrency, right? Or to Bitcoin, right? It's quantum computing is a risk to not just cryptocurrency, but all encrypted networks or encryption. It can break encryption through massive brute forcing, right? So if you think about it, Bitcoin its cryptography is you've got the private key and the public key. And the public key and the private key are kind of linked. And you could technically, with enough power, and brute force guess the private key with the public key if you have a machine that's powerful enough to do that.
Yeah.
So in terms of Bitcoin, there's the total number of possible Bitcoin private key combinations is a number that is like with 78 zeros at the end of it, right? A 1,000 qubit machine could potentially calculate up to a number with 301 zeros to the end of it. So technically, obviously, this is a brand new machine. It hasn't been tested. It's all theoretical, all this kind of stuff. It can be very easy to guess a Bitcoin private key in the future with a machine that's stable enough to actually do these calculations. So that's one of the questions around, is it a concern for Bitcoin and crypto? But honestly, if you get a quantum machine that's that powerful, that's that stable and can do all this kind of stuff, Bitcoin is, the concerns around the Bitcoin's network security is the least of our concerns, because think about everything they can break into. Banks, the nuclear codes, even the internet, the HTTPS protocol. Like, there's so many things they could break into with a quantum computer. And it's quite relevant right now as well. Like, there's a lot of development being done to develop quantum resistant technology, both in the banks. So with the Fed, the CBDC, right? One of the things for the Fed CBDC, the requirements they said is they want to try and make sure it's quantum resistant. And so banks are also working on it. Apple's iMessage, they recently developed such that it could be quantum resistant as well. And, the WEF actually also said that quantum computing is a potential threat for 2024. I'm
not surprised. It is a potential threat for everyone. Bloomberg also had an article out saying that some developers are also working to future-proof their blockchains by having and exploring ways to transition into quantum-resistant cryptography. But I think it's one of those things that a human mind and a very cryptographic network, you're up against the brute force, as you've said, of quantum computing. It's a force to be reckoned with.
It is, yeah. Bitcoin's fun fact, though, Bitcoin could technically be made quantum resistant, just because you've already got Schnorr signatures, which were done with a Taproot upgrade, and you could just do another potential soft fork, which could implement quantum resistant algorithms. And there is research that's been done on this, which we can link to below if you guys are keen and you feel like some light quantum reading.
Fun fact.
Fun facts. But yeah, there is potential. There is a potential to soft fork Bitcoin and make quantum resistant algorithms. So I'm not too concerned about it, mainly because it's very far away and there are, potential hedges to that. So yeah. Next question is from USMC for life. I wonder what that is. Probably a university or something. It sounds like some acronym. USMC, US Marine Corps. I don't know. Maybe he's a Marine. Link Marine. What you think ETH will top?
Ooh, good question. So I'm going to start this off with a few sprinkles of ETH price predictions. Grok AI, which everyone is asking all the questions now to. ETH price prediction by the end of 2024, $4,000 to $5,000 US. Ethereum investor Ryan Berkman has said ETH could reach $27,000 because of reduced selling pressure for miners, post-upgrade, and also scaling upgrades. Also, he's mentioned the US presidential elections as potentially a catalyst that we do see there. So there are two kind of very different ends of the spectrum of price predictions. I'm optimistic that the next few weeks are going to be pretty significant for ETH. We have the Dencun upgrade, which is scheduled for the 13th of March. We've had a few successful testnets that have rolled out. So if you do look to follow some Ethereum devs on Twitter, they do really give updates when it comes to developer community calls and a run through and a breakdown of what have been said and the next phase of rollouts, which is actually quite interesting to look through. I think the transparency there is pretty impressive. But we also have ETH Denver going on at the moment. So 29th of February until the 3rd of March. I personally like to look at events of native blockchains as a potential small kind of price rally movement, because you have all of the community together. If there's going to be any community or blockchain native updates or announcements, they do typically come out at these events. So that's kind of one of the things that I'll be keeping an eye out for. So when it comes to when ETH will top, I think the next few weeks will be kind of a smaller rally for Ethereum. I think that's something that we could expect to see, because these two combinations of ETH Denver and the Dencun upgrade for 13th of March are kind of good news, exciting events. But then it will depend how the next few months go for the crypto market.
That's true. And it's a good point around the ETH Denver, right? Because if you recall, Sol, Breakpoint, there was just came out of there, it's like out of the Sol summer came out of that Breakpoint, right? So if that's any indication, potentially it could be a nice boost for ETH. And then one more thing to consider also for ETH is, of course, the ETF potentially, right? I guess the question of like whether we could see an ETF on May 13th. Oh, no, not sometime in May 23rd.
That's my birthday.
Oh, really?
Yeah, May 13th.
Okay, cool. Well, I'm going to note that down, put it in the calendar. No, I think that around May. So you could potentially, it's actually May 23rd, I read incorrectly, but it will be a delayed birthday present if we do get the ETH ETF approved. That's the deadline for when the SEC has to come to sort of some decision on some of these ETF filings. Yeah. Otherwise, they may be taken to court. So, this could potentially see, well, look, I mean, obviously, if there's any indication of what's happened with Bitcoin.
Yes. And the underestimation of how much demand would be for the spot Bitcoin ETFs.
Yeah, exactly.
If that's anything to gauge what the Ethereum ones by, the likes of BlackRock must be...
They must be enjoying.
They must be pretty excited.
Enjoying and excited. Although there's some who say, S&P actually came out and said that because we've talked about this quite a few times, the potential, there's more of a risk on Ethereum from concentration and centralization, because if a large holder of the Ethereum, basically means that they could have potentially stronger stake power and more control over a network, because it's not mined, it's all done through validators. So S&P did a report recently that raised that concern. I think we mentioned it in the news on Monday. And then, although the counter to that, I think Jim Cramer came out with a bit of he said that he thinks an ETH ETF is on the rise. And so, the inverse Cramer, could unfortunately scupper that. We never know.
Yeah. Well, we do have a few industry friends that are at ETH Denver, so I will ask them if any topics of discussions or kind of panel debates about what their expectations are for the ETH ETF from the ETH community are, and any alpha that we get back, we will pass on. I'll probably drop anything that comes through in the Discord.
There you go, guys. You know where to follow. That's in the links to Discords and the links in the description, by the way. So,
I was trapped inside a cage made out of the daily grind.
I was so unfulfilled. I felt like a blank sheet of A4 paper.
Something was missing from my life, but I didn't know what.
But then I found what I'd been missing.
The Coin Bureau deals page was the answer to my prayers.
It had everything I needed to make me complete.
Exchange sign-up bonuses of up to $50,000.
The biggest discounts on the best hardware wallets.
Trading fee discounts of up to 60% on the best crypto exchanges.
Exclusive altcoin alpha.
Thank you, Coin Bureau, for bringing me back to life.
Okay, so next question is from Coinclusion. Can you explain DePIN in simple terms?
Yeah, sure. So DePIN obviously is an acronym for Decentralized Physical Networks, and it's as opposed to the likes of DeFi or most cryptocurrency, which has been developed for financial applications and financial dApps, etc. So quite simply, it's a blockchain-based management of real-world facilities and real-world data. It uses cryptocurrencies as an incentivization mechanism to encourage people to build on top of these physical networks and operate these this physical infrastructure in a crowdsourced way. And basically, there are wide-ranging DePIN applications and use cases, from decentralized Wi-Fi, decentralized storage, decentralized cloud compute, decentralized mobile networks, etc., etc. It's a really exciting narrative for this year, obviously. We actually, if you're a CBC member, Coin Bureau Club subscriber and member, you will have seen we ran a poll recently about the top narratives people are most interested in. And DePIN was the one. And, VCs or investors are also very excited about DePIN. According to a recent Masori report, I think at least the top 10 DePIN projects are about $1 billion in funding.
Wow.
And there's a lot of exciting DePIN projects. We've talked about a few of them, right?
Yes.
Like there's obviously Helium, which is decentralized mobile network. There's Hive Mapper, which you know a lot about, which is a decentralized mapping network.
Yes, absolutely. And there's also World Mobile as well, which is another telecoms kind of on the blockchain, because Helium did exponentially over the last few months and really has some impressive price gains. And there's quite a few. So we spoke about this yesterday on NFA Live on Coin Bureau Clips, and Rob was also talking about it. For the next wave of retail users, it's a great way for them to adopt blockchain technology without actually having to hear the words crypto or blockchain. It's kind of incentivizing them to be part of this blockchain economy, this sharing economy of DePIN and decentralized physical infrastructure, while receiving staking rewards and incentives. Ultimately, that is what people want nowadays. They want a cheaper solution, a faster integration, and they want to be rewarded for their use. And that's just general consumers, not just people that are crypto natives. So I think DePIN is a great way to onboard them into the crypto ecosystem.
And also a great way to encourage people to uphold the network itself in ways they wouldn't have before. Crowdsourcing involvement and crowdsourcing upholding of the network. I mean, in the case of HiveMapper, they recently released their latest webcam, or not webcam, dash cam.
Yeah.
And it's quite pricey. It retails at like $550.
Okay.
But the point of the matter is with things like this, think about how many people drive around, how many people, Uber drivers, people drive every day. Instead of relying on a few Google cars to go on Street View and map, you can rely on everyone who's crowdsourcing the maps and the routes and everything. So it's basically allowing and creating an incentive mechanism to develop a way more robust and way more colorful picture of the global streets as opposed to just Google and Google controlling it and Google determining it. So that's what's cool about DePIN. It's not the fact, it's also obviously people could be incentivized to use it, but also incentivized to uphold it. And it's just a crowdsourced method to do that. Yeah.
And if you look at breaking the oligopoly of the likes of like Uber and the sharing economy of Airbnb, if you're one of the first people to adopt this new ecosystem, you are rewarded because you are a token holder, and as the ecosystem grows. Whereas if you're one of the first 10 Uber drivers in the world, it doesn't really leave you much as a kind of independent narrative. Yeah.
Cool. Next question is from Ilya Mann, and he's asking, will BTC Rally pull alts with it up to the sky?
Oh, this is a good question. So we kind of covered this yesterday on NFA Live, and I know we spoke about this before the show, which is kind of, and Crypto T did a pretty interesting tweet about this, which is, are we going to see the kind of the Bitcoin rotation into alts because the spot Bitcoin ETF holders won't be able to reallocate into alts? So then it kind of leaves the question of, where does this leave the Bitcoin rally and then the altcoin season that typically one would expect to follow? So as we do like to see a kind of a movement of the crypto market in general, it is going to be a little bit different this time because the spot Bitcoin ETF holders typically are not going to be rotating into alts because they are a little bit more of a risk averse investor and they don't really look to kind of diversify into the likes of some of the altcoins that have been moving the most. That being said, I think the crypto natives are going to start to make some profits in Bitcoin and reallocate into some of the altcoin market fairly soon. So alts are going to move along with the price.
Yeah, I think alts will move. The question here comes down to how much will they move in the altcoin season, and can we use previous market rallies, previous altcoin seasons as a benchmark, or has, because of the ETF, things changed a lot? I think that the question of, first of all, I know what tweet you're referring to, and it's the question of, okay, well, these investors, they can't. Even if they could, they wouldn't. I don't think the kind of investors, at least on the retail and institutional side, that are buying into ETFs right now are the kind of investors who'd be interested dabbling into smaller altcoins, smaller market cap stuff. The kind of investors who are going to go and set up a Coinbase account and go and store a KuCoin account or whatever and try and buy some exotic altcoins. They're investors who basically now has the opportunity to buy Bitcoin through their tax-regulated way, and they've been allocating as such. So therefore, you do question: are we going to see the same amount of growth in altcoins compared to Bitcoin? Are we going to see Bitcoin dominance fall in as much as we have in the previous cycles? Because in this cycle, because people who've bought the ETF are not necessarily going to pivot into alts, and the crypto natives who've made money on Bitcoin, are they going to necessarily, is the amount of alts they're going to be buying with their gains going to be enough to make up for the dominance increase because of the ETF buyers? And I don't necessarily think so. So this dictates, if you guys are understand the concept of financial, financial portfolio theory, like the beta on alts is basically beta relates to the amount that a particular asset will grow according to a general benchmark, right? In the past, alts have had a high beta to Bitcoin, so they've been much more, they increase a lot more and they fall a lot more relative to Bitcoin in a market cycle, right? They're more volatile, higher returns, higher risk. In this altcoin season, there's potential that the altcoin beta to Bitcoin could be lower, right? Lower than it was in previous cycles. So TLDR, I think that the altcoin cycle, it will come and we will see it go, but I don't think that it will be as crazy relative to Bitcoin, at least, relative to Bitcoin this cycle. We'll still see alts rally, we'll still see crazy gains, but I don't think it will be relative to Bitcoin as much as it has been in the past, because the ETFs have changed the market structure and because ETF investors are not the kind of investors who are going to pivot into these kind of assets right now. Yeah.
Okay, so we have Eduardo Dreamer, personal thoughts on PYTH.
Perth Network, yeah. I mean, this is a project we've obviously, first of all, we've covered it in the Coin Bureau Club in a review. Some of the team hold it. It's done very well over the past few weeks. Perth has crushed it. I think it's gone over its all-time highs again. And, you know, it had a bit of a fall out of the airdrop, but now it's rallying again. It's also going through a secondary airdrop now with regards to rewarding people who build in on top of the PIFnet. So it's a really exciting project. I think that it has strong potential to be one of the top, you know, Oracle providers for all cryptocurrency networks. It's extremely, the tech side of it, it's a high performance, you know, low latency, high frequency Oracle network that's got a lot of big traditional financial firms that are behind it, providing the pricing data. It's a lot more robust. It's got a lot more protections in the place in terms of accuracy of data. It's integrated with at least 90 different data providers, providing to at least 40 plus blockchains. So it's quite interoperable across many different blockchains. So yeah, it's a very exciting project. Tech side, it's amazing. In terms of the token itself, if you watch the CBC review, we're quite optimistic about its potential, especially if it's going to integrate all these other blockchain networks and it's going to become a predominant Oracle provider across the cryptocurrency ecosystem. Potential risks, I think there's at least 4 unlocks happening in May for early investors, which is always potentially a concern from supply side. But yeah, I mean, I don't personally hold PIF. I sold out, unfortunately, a few weeks ago. But for those
before the recent rally,
I missed out a lot of the gains, unfortunately.
Okay.
I needed some fiat liquidity, and I was like, okay, my PIF is looking good. I made some profits on it. I'm going to take some profits, and yeah, well, you know. It is what it is. That's
you win some, you lose some.
That's unfortunately the situation.
INJ Ninja, you're doing fine.
I'm fine, yeah. My INJ bag is making way more than that for that, so that's fine. Generally, PIF, quite bullish on it. Do you hold PIF? Or?
Yes, okay. I also hold PIF in my portfolio. In the last week alone, so we saw it got listed on the South Korean exchange Upbit. This week, big for it, yeah. We saw they launched real-time market data on Hedera, so price feeds will enable them to pull Oracle data to Hedera users. 400, as you mentioned, ultra-low latency price feeds across crypto. And also on February the 20th, they announced the launch of price feeds for the 13 Bitcoin ETFs. So they've got the ETF price feed solution with all pricing data for the spot Bitcoin ETFs.
Oh, okay. Interesting. When was that?
20th of February.
Wow.
Yeah.
So the ETFs, Bitcoin ETFs are pulling PIF data or?
So PIF is pulling the ETF
data.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. Which ETFs do they do with it?
The spot Bitcoin ETFs.
Which one? Is it all of them or most of them? Or BlackRock's or?
13. All 13.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's great. Yeah. That's so real world. Yeah, exactly. And the fact is that a lot of people are going to be using those Bitcoin ETF price references, especially the shares in their applications. They're going to be building these applications. So yeah, that's top news. Next question is from WJS437, and he's asking, altcoins to hit new all-time high in 2024?
Oh, okay. Well, this is a pretty open question. I mean
it is, yeah. And open to interpretation. It's like he's asking for altcoins that will hit all-time highs, and he's asking, are altcoins in general going to hit all-time highs?
Are altcoins in general going to hit? Well, we are already seeing new all-time highs hit. So this week we saw Mantle hit a new all-time high.
Okay.
Mantle came on our Coin Bureau Discord AMA 2 weeks ago. And I do think that kind of leads onto the narrative of Ethereum, layer 2s on Ethereum. As we mentioned earlier on in the video, Ethereum in the next few weeks has a really interesting time of catalyst. Spot Ethereum ETFs could be a possible maybe, if not when, in May. Then we've also got the Dencode upgrade, and then we've got the ETH Denver. On top of that then, Ethereum layer 2s, are we going to see a rally then when it comes to the ecosystem as a general whole kind of thriving because Dencode upgrade makes cheaper and more scalable transactions for them? So Mantle we've already seen as a new all-time high. One other one that I'm watching out for, which is also in my portfolio as one to watch over the next few months, is Sui. So Sui is a layer 1. We've covered it quite a few times on the channel. We do have a Discord AMA with the Sui team on Thursday afternoon, evening, depending on where you're watching from, on the Coin Bureau Discord. So I do advise you to join. If you're a Coin Bureau Club member, you can also ask questions to the co-founder and the chief technical officer of Sui and really pick their brains on what their expectations are. And the reason I say they're one to watch at the moment is because out of all the other kind of competitors on the market, I haven't seen as much upward price potential from Sui as I have from the competitor chains. And they have a conference/event in April, the same time as Paris Blockchain Week. And they have some pretty impressive speakers that will be attending and kind of showcasing developments. Some people that aren't actually affiliated directly as in employed by SUI, and the likes of Nick Carter will be speaking there too. So I just think that's quite an interesting one to watch.
Okay, cool. So the whole conference narrative kind of thing driving it.
I like the conference narrative. I always
Gives
think
the
a little
bullish
bit of
vibes.
a little bit of
Just let's
alpha
think
might
of-
come out there, kind of
that's
get there first, see what
The
happens.
VCs think, this is a project I need to watch. Let's go and pump. Let's allocate.
Yeah,
Capital
absolutely.
allocators. Yeah, so you hold SUI as well, right?
I hold SUI as well, yeah.
I hold SUI as well. I'm bullish on it as well. I think it's really exciting. It did go through its all-time highs this year, obviously, right?
Yeah.
I think it did, right? Then there's a lot of other coins that have been through their all-time highs, especially the newer ones. And then one that's obviously gone through its previous all-time high. And it's come down a little bit, but yeah, it's Ninjas, Injective, gotta go. Gotta give it a bit of a shill.
I knew he was going to say it. We're sick of hearing about it in the office, guys.
Ninjas, man. Ninja for life, man. That's
I
what
also
it is.
hold some Injective, but
She's converted. She's a ninja as well. Guy's the one who's feeling left out, Guy, don't worry. Dragon with hat will make money someday, man.
Oh, someday. Then you'll see.
there is a little bit of friendly competition in the office of Trader of the Week, who's kind of getting the most gains, who's getting it in. And yeah, the fact that you're an Injective, I actually heard you laugh out loud yesterday in your office and you were on the phone to someone, you're like, yeah, Injective, bro, it's going through.
Yeah.
We can't stop hearing about it, guys.
Oh, man, yeah. Injective is also, they buy billboards around ETH Denver.
Oh,
And
that's
they released,
interesting.
there's cool stuff going on, man. I don't want to turn this into a whole Q&A on Injective. But yeah, they got this, they've imported, and DojoSwap has imported the ERC 404 NFT fractionalization protocol into Cosmosm as well. So there's an opportunity for fractionalizing there. And Injective's always quite popular for it's a good network to be issuing NFTs because of the gas compression, et cetera, et cetera. But
And you interviewed one of the team members.
The CEO, yeah, it's over on Coin Bureau Clips about 2 weeks ago. Very interesting discussion. Talked about a lot of the upgrades and what to look forward to. So we'll leave a link to that below as well.
Okay, next up from Vidhu Shan. Can you do a FET update video?
Yeah, well, Vidushan, I'll let you know that we've just released one on Coin Bureau Club. So if you're a club subscriber, you will have seen we did a video on Fetch AI. I think that, obviously I would encourage you to go watch it. If you're a member, you obviously see the whole video. I can give you a little bit of a taste of it in terms of like our own perception, because I've also watched the video. And yeah, not too optimistic about it. But, basically Fetch AI, it's one of the first AI, protocols out there. 2019, they raised quite a bit of money, but they've been developing for that long time period. They only released their product like 2 weeks ago, this thing called Delta V, which is kind of like a hobbled together version of ChatGPT, which is kind of like annoying to use. Apparently, it's just much easier just to use Google. It's the whole concept. So basically what they are is a concept of crowdsourced, like in, decentralized network or decentralized marketplace for AI agents and algorithms and things like that. And people can develop these algorithms on the FET blockchain, but on the Fetch blockchain. But in terms of its tokenomics, first of all, there's questions around demand side. Of course, the supply side is going to be, they've almost gone through all the vests in that. So inflation will be coming down, although the tokenomics and inflation was difficult to ascertain because the docs weren't clear.
Okay.
There's a lot of transparency issues with it, like documentation, background of history of the founders, that kind of stuff. And it's like, I just think that the actual product that was released wasn't that amazing. It's obviously, it's one of the first movers, right? In terms of other AI projects out there developing systems, I mean, it's okay. But it has the first move advantage, and it's been through AI cycles. And right now it's an AI hype cycle. Yeah. People are buying into AI it's an AI crypto because they can't buy public, there aren't really listed AI companies right now. So AI crypto is a good play for them.
Yes.
But I think that this project itself, it basically, it's got transparency issues. There's the question around, they only have a roadmap with just 2 milestones in it. So it's like you don't really know in terms of how much transparency and what they want to develop out. And but I mean, there are a few things that they address these. But I will encourage you, if you're a member, to watch the review, and if you're not a member, well, you can subscribe below. But AI, I think if you're bullish on the AI narrative, I think AI infrastructure is a lot more exciting.
Yes.
So like the likes of Cash, Filecoin, decentralized, and decentralized compute.
Yeah, decentralized data storage is kind of the knock-on effect of AI. Do you have any exposure to AI tokens at the moment?
No? I don't know. Do you?
I did, and then I sold maybe
Oh,
a
yes.
month before they popped, and I would have 3x'd my gains.
We all heard about this. Yes. What was it called again?
Open Fabric AI. It's like a AI kind of DAO, allows you to build infrastructure on the network. I don't know.
So what are those foregone gains there? How many X did you miss out?
3 or 4x. I know.
Is it still on your watch list? It's still sitting there. It's haunting you every day.
It's
you log
not-
into CMC, you look at it.
I can't look away.
It's
like
the
this-
most visited coins you're going to see there. Open Fabric AI. She's sitting there. She's reminiscing on it.
It's like one
The
of
dreams
those,
of what could have been bought with those gains.
It's like watching trash reality TV. That is how it feels when you sell a token too early and then it exponentially grows up. But the whole AI ecosystem did grow up. Like we spoke about, Singularity Net is one of the longest standing AI projects, and that had huge gains as well in the last few weeks. I mean, AI in general, just because of the release of kind of like Sora, and all these things that came out. So
Yeah.
hats off to any of you that were holding AI tokens. Well done. This was
Especially
a nice
Open
one.
Fabric, you know. You were
There's like salt and there's the wound and Nick's just like,
you were her exit liquidity, but then she realized that she shouldn't have dumped because you guys are on the winning side of that trade. So you know.
and the worst bit is actually, it's like a little fun fact. So I followed the guys on Twitter. I always like to kind of like scope out if I'm investing in a product. And the guys messaged me the day after I sold, or maybe a few hours after, to be like, hey, like we'd love to have a call with you and share some of our marketing efforts for the next few months. And I was like, should I rebuy that? Fine.
Yeah.
Do your own research, guys. Dive into it. Dive into the marketing efforts of the team. Okay, next question. So I know it's your turn to ask the question, but this, I can see that the question has red velvet outfit in it. So I'm going to direct it to you. VEE, can you add the red Coinburo Velvetista outfit to the merch store? It's a must-have.
It is a must-have indeed, and I think that as I said, we aim to please. So if you guys want to buy a red velvet tracksuit, we can put it to the club, and we can even maybe put some Bitcoin embroidery on it. Maybe another color, green.
I was going to say red is just a little bit. You're a walking red candle.
Yeah.
This is why I wore green today to counteract Nick. So maybe we do need to get a green on there.
Green one, or another really cool color is like light gray or purple. Purple, that would be top.
You took the words out of my mouth there.
Or it doesn't have to be a hoodie or tracksuit. It could be a onesie. So you can kind of
okay, so here's
you
the
can
thing.
sleep in it like in pajamas, and then you can dream about Bitcoin in the whole night.
There was like a onesie craze that went through the UK probably about 15 years ago.
Okay.
It's like when everyone was like kind of like starting to become an adult, so it wasn't really accepted. And there,
But wait, no, just to clarify, just onesie to wear inside the house, or
No.
onesie to actually go publicly out?
no pajamas.
Okay, cool.
But you could get. I had an orange one, like a tiger one with like little like things. And
That is cool.
That's pretty Bitcoiny.
That is
I would
cool,
say.
yeah.
So maybe we get like
Maybe they
an
can make a
orange
panda one
onesuit.
or a bear one as well. They can have like bear.
Yeah.
Like a bear ears and stuff, the Bitcoin bear.
This is why.
And with some horns of the bull one. These are some ideas. We need to write this down. Can we write this down for the Coinburo store, please? We can take these notes, Sarah. Thank you.
The creative mind behind Coinburo. See what happens when Injective goes through the roof, guys.
Yeah,
like Guy is quivering now. Like, what is Nick going to make us all do?
Well, Guy's going to be modeling them, so he'll be.
So yeah, let us know if that's something you would like to see, or if you would like Nick to stick to the CEO duties and get out of the creative brainstorming.
We're
Let
going
us know in
to
the
stock it
comments,
up,
guys.
man. Let us know, guys.
So guys, this is the moment that we've been super excited for.
Yeah.
We thought, as the market has been moving in such an upward trajectory, there's going to be a new 2024, 2025 bull market song.
Yeah, man. I've been waiting for this the whole week, man.
But
Let's
what
do
is the
this.
song going to be? So then we kind of asked the question of like, what is this market song? What is a good song that indicates the markets? Nick, when the market moves, will play loudly in his office, Pump It Up by Endor.
Endor. That's it, man.
But we've done it now. We've heard it a few times. We know all the words. So we're like, okay, there has to be some new songs on the market.
It's not that many words either, right? It's not.
It's classic. It's an easy one.
Yeah, it's
Even
easy.
DJs can remember the words. You have a few. I have a few. And then we've got a little surprise at the end. Do you want to start with some that are potential, possible bull market songs?
Yeah, there's a few. Okay, so I guess there was a recent one that came out on crypto Twitter, which was a million on a meme coin. I'm not going to play it because it's an AI remix.
He's going to sing it instead.
I'll attempt to, but it's like it's a Drake AI remix that basically it's all about meme coins and made a million on a meme coin. It's actually really good. So we'll link to it, if you guys want to listen to it. And it was taken down from YouTube. It's only available on Twitter now. But it's like, I just made $1 million on a meme coin, dropped that contract down, Addy and the team joined. So it's a really, really cool song. I'm not gonna sing the whole thing because like I don't know all the words, but I do think it's worth listening to. It will really get you into the vibes, especially if you're a meme coin dabbler. And it's actually a really good AI remix of Drake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if you like Drake. I also thought if we're going to go down kind of what songs would epitomize working in crypto, if we're going just on the basis of titles, Drake's song Laugh Now, Cry Later is for like the long-term hodlers out there. Because that's like, today we're laughing, but later, you know,
Very kind.
2026, you know, who knows what's going to happen.
Drake's got quite a few song titles that could be applicable to crypto. 0 to 100.
Yeah,
0 to 100 on the leverage. Boom, 100x.
Bam. Started from the bottom, now we're here.
There we go, yeah. Trophies, you know, collecting the crypto trophies, yeah.
Drake, Lil Wayne, Nicki Minaj, Seeing Green.
Yeah,
Another good one.
Yeah.
The hip-hop titles are there, but then they're not as catchy as the house songs. You need like a little...
Bumping up, you know. Also, the one that's quite popular, it's been in previous cycles, but I think it's played a lot, is The Weeknd's Blinding Lights.
Yeah.
They usually do remixes around Bitcoin themes and Bitcoin in the background, like Bitcoin dominating the financial system, Bitcoin's the future of money, and they usually have Sado in there talking about the cyber hornets kind of stuff. So The Weeknd, Blinding Lights is a great remix, although it has been used in the previous cycle though. So that's why we need need of a brand new one. Also, the one you want a good one is like My Humps, right? It's like...
Yeah, so if you're going to then, if we're talking about creating a new one and remixing My Humps by the Black Eyed Peas, but then replacing the word with My Pumps,
There we go.
that would be an absolute bop. But you're right, I was like, there's not really enough out there on the market now. There's not enough songs that could really showcase what we can
need
do with
something
crypto.
new.
We need something new. So I was like, okay,
Original.
let's make our own song.
Yeah.
And then I was like, okay, how are we going to start this? First of all, who is the voice of crypto?
Yeah.
Obviously, it's Coin Bureau Guy.
Yeah, exactly. And
Then, what do retail investors ask for when they're asking us about crypto? There's like a few things that I'll normally ask.
Yeah,
And one is like, you know, how high is Bitcoin
Yeah.
doing? Could it go higher?
There we go.
So, ladies and gentlemen, I think this has the potential to be the bull market song.
pump the volume.
This is so exciting.
Yeah,
Nick
so
hasn't
exciting.
heard this yet.
Yeah,
so this
so-
this is Coin Bureau Guy, Keep Going Higher. Are you ready?
Keep going high. Keep going high. Keep going high. Keep going high. Keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going high.
Ooh. This is actually pretty good, man.
I
This
told
is
you
actually
this.
pretty good.
I told you.
I think it's gonna be the new Friday theme song.
High.
Yeah. Some good market vibes. No, that's really good. You should have actually taken credit for that, man. Because Jessica's also a part-time DJ. So she could have just said, "You guys, I designed this video by myself," and taken all the credit from this poor chap, and just be like,
So actually, I have to give a shout out for Pim, who is on Fiverr, who's also a Coin Bureau subscriber, which was amazing. He was like, I'm actually subscribed to the channel. I was like, look, I've got this secret project I'm working on. I'll give you a shout out. So thank you for turning this around in 24 hours. This is an absolute bop. If you think we should post it on Twitter and maybe even record a music video for it,
that
let us
music
know.
video. And we need the extended version now. We need the extended version. That's very short. We need the extended version with some more lyrics, potentially, Guy. And we can also make a music video. Like, this deserves top tier production quality. We can even include some other assets. We can go outside, shoot,
Go
go
to the Lamborghini store.
dealership. Yeah, Guy trades in his scooter for a Lambo. Keep going higher. There we go.
Guy is not going to let us do this Q&As anymore because each time we just end up roping him into things that he probably would not agree to do.
Oh, well.
We're sorry.
Still
So,
better
yeah.
than, I'm sure he prefers this than us watching some of his old thumbnails.
It's also true. Also true. So guys, let us know your thoughts on the Keep Going Higher by Guy from Coin Bureau track. If you think we should drop it on Twitter, let us know. Maybe we'll pop it in Discord first just to give everyone a little bit of
to get them a bit of the alpha. Yeah, exactly. A bit of altcoin Friday song, crypto alpha.
Yeah.
And then we'll share for the rest of the crew if you guys want it. And if you want to see the rest, if you want us to do a music video, if you want to see more, if you want, let us know, man. And as always, guys, thanks a lot for submitting the questions, of course. Obviously, that was the main purpose of this. We obviously decided, we want to try and throw a little flair into this Q&A.
Yeah.
The main purpose is to answer your very thoughtful questions. They were great. And as you guys know, it can be done through our Instagram, which I've linked to below. It's a really fun Q&A.
Yes.
Thanks, Jess. Thanks for the song. Thank you, Mr. Pim, for the amazing remix. And
amazing remix.
yeah. We shall
Gonna
see
go
you.
listen to it again. Thank you guys
We
so
shall
much
see
for
you
watching.
next week. Cheers, guys.
Keep going higher. Keep going higher. Keep going higher. Keep going higher. Keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going higher.